G'day, Dave here, and welcome to day 4 of our 25-day exploration of God's plan for Christmas. We're going to finish on Christmas Day. We've been looking at how God has put in place a plan to undo the problems with the world. And we've seen already how back in Genesis 3, we decided we'd be better off without God, and how God then in Genesis 12 chose Abraham to be a blessing to all the nations, and how he told Abraham that he'd have descendants as many as the stars in the sky. One special son, Isaac, would be the father of many. And so now we've moved from Abraham to Isaac, and we're going to pick it up here with Jacob. And Jacob has a dream, and the dream has to do with a stairway to heaven. Let me read from Genesis chapter 28 and verse 10. Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. And when he reached a certain place, he stopped for the night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and he lay down to sleep. He had a dream in which he saw a stairway resting on the earth with its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. There above it stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised. And when Jacob awoke from his sleep, he thought, surely the Lord is in this place. Well, there Jacob has a dream, and he's reminded that God is the God of his father and of his grandfather, and he hasn't forgotten the promises that he made to Abraham. And instead of his descendants this time being as many as the stars in the sky, they will be as many as the dust on the earth. See, God hasn't forgotten his promises. God will continue to bless people from all nations through the Son and 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 the Son, ultimately the one Son, that is Jesus, here of Jacob. And Jacob's picture here is of a stairway from earth to heaven. Now, I grew up in the 60s and the 70s, and one of the classic rock songs of the 1970s was Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. And there were all kinds of guitar riffs that went with this, and you'd go into a music shop and everyone would be playing Stairway to Heaven. It was certainly a big hit, and everyone was listening to it. And I think it captures something of the mood of many people. The idea that if we just climb hard enough, if we live good enough lives, if we do enough to please God, then we'll be able to climb up this stairway and God will let us into heaven. But the picture that we have here is not a stairway that we create. It's a stairway that God has created. And the angels are here pictured on this staircase. And there is no way for us to climb our way into heaven. In fact, the whole reason that God had to send his special son, Jesus, is because we could never be good enough. And so Jesus came to provide the way for us to enter into the presence of God. It's not by us climbing our way into heaven. It's by Jesus bringing us there because of what he does, and not because of what we do. This Christmas, it's a good time to remember that Christmas is not really a message for good people. You know what Santa says, don't you? You be good and you'll get a present. And if you're not good, you'll be on the naughty list and you'll get coal or you won't get a present. But the great news is that the Bible says there is only a naughty list. That is, we've all been naughty. We've all not been good enough. None of us can climb our way to heaven. None of us deserve anything from God. And yet God has reached out to us by sending his promised son, Jesus. So that if we trust in Jesus, God's present to us at Christmas is life with him in heaven. And that is an extraordinarily wonderful present. Maybe next time you hear that song, Stairway to Heaven, realize that it's not what we can do to get to God. It's all of what God has done for us through Jesus.